Automation nation, automation nation, automation nation, around the nation, automation nation, automation nation, automation nation, around the nation, around the nation, around the nation. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, the show for business leaders, tech aficionados, and those who are just simply curious about where technology and business are going. Automation Nation is your gateway to understanding automation, AI, and the future of business. Don't get left behind. Tune in now and subscribe for more. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, everybody. We are back again for another fantastic automation conversation. I got a guest in the house. It's a virtual house. If you didn't know, it's a virtual house. We are all in the same virtual house. Hey, Joe, did you know that we are all in the same living room? It's amazing, isn't it? I just love
Yeah,
the
sure. I can feel it, man. I can feel it.
and that's what I love about these conversations and the internet is we're able to have this dialogue. But this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, and those who've been watching and those who have never watched, the goal is to educate, edutain, give somebody some insight that can help them do business better, in particularly in the way of technology and automation. My guest today, brother from another mother, literally, he is. I'm going to read a little bit of his bio. He's passionate business. He's a business strategist who teaches financial education. Also, to my wife, he teaches her as well. And as the VCFO through his company GreenLight Financial, he's a VCFO. And I'm going to pause right there, Joe. I'm going to pause right there. You let folks know what a VCFO is. And I know you're helping folks in the financial world, and I know you have a lot of skills and insight. But let's start with this, brother. What is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
VCFO? Huh?
Just a virtual CFO advisor, man. So we're doing, 21st century now. We're doing virtual CFO advising. You don't have to have an in-house accounting team. You can have yourself a fractional CFO, and they can do it right over the web. That's all it is.
You made it sound so simple, and that's what it is, folks. Yes, that's simple. And ever since BC, and that's the new BC, before COVID. So now after COVID, this after COVID, man, this after pandemic, call it AP. I mean, the internet has boomed, and being able to communicate and have access to the internet and know what you're doing, and then have access to the right people. And this is why we're having this dialogue here, because one of the things in business is understanding your finances literally is the cream of the crop. And I'm not just saying that, but if you don't understand your dough, you probably won't get no mo. I was just trying to figure out something that rhymed with that. But seriously, and we have had
It's true.
clients, and we've had clients. I mean, it would sink like sands to the crack of their hands. They would just be falling out, and they wouldn't know what was going on, but they didn't have that intelligence. So, without further ado, why don't you share with folks a little bit about who you are, like why you do what you do, and then roll into what is Greenlight Financial.
Yeah, so I do CFO advising online for online-based businesses. I've been probably doing this now for about 5 years. About 2 years ago, I started my own company called GreenLight Financial Group. So I meet with like online-based businesses, being like course creators, marketing agencies, influencers, coaches, all from like personal trainers, teaching you how to start your own YouTube channel, your own Amazon business, how to be a day trader, how to start your own cleaning business. So it's really great. I got into it because I realized kind of there's these small businesses out there that are making tons of money online, having no overhead because they're an online-based business. And they weren't really sure how to manage their finances, right? They kind of just look at their bank account and they go, oh, my bank account's gone up. My bank account's going down. I must be doing good. I must be doing bad. And so I really helped kind of create clarity around that. by showing them their financials and helping them understand what a P&L is and what a balance sheet is, and use them to make real decisions, informed decisions, not just like, hey, I'm going to hold this event, I'm going to spend $100,000 and let's see if I make some money and see if people show up. So it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool. Helping people be a little bit more accurate with what they're doing. Probably a little more success comes with that. All right,
Yeah.
but that's cool. That is some good stuff. Joe, we asked all of our guests this one question because we are powered by Simply Automate. If you could simply automate one thing in your personal life, what would that be?
Cooking food, man. I love cooking. Don't get me wrong. I love, doing barbecue, you name it. But man, I tell you what, it'd be nice to have a personal chef and have that automated.
Oh, I tell you, well. First thing I got to tell everybody there, this may be the best brisket maker on the planet. Okay, so one, this guy here, Joe. Second, that thing you just said was one of the top answers.
Really?
People
That's the
yeah,
number one.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
figure, man.
It's cooking and laundry. Hello, and of course we got Joe's picking up
Oh.
kids, but that cooking thing. The interesting thing about it is that's not that far away. It's actually right around the
No,
corner.
I agree, man. I agree. Soon
Okay,
to be the Jetsons.
soon, and that's interesting because the Jetsons, are now, and we surpassed it, and we're going beyond it because I don't think the Jetsons had the internet on Mars, right? I don't think they were talking about that. We're doing that right now.
Sure.
Joe, let's hop in it, man. Okay, so AI, man, one of my favorite conversations.
Okay.
What is the? Let's talk about how you see AI and automation like helping your clients and maybe improve their profits. Let's talk about what you are seeing in particularly.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of crazy stuff. I really like that question. Uh, so it's interesting for AI right now and how it's kind of changing the industry as a whole. Is there's kind of like two major ways that I would say, both in the business side and how businesses are actually operating, and then how they're actually making profits too. But like for example, I have a client right now that teaches you. Sorry, doesn't teach you. He actually uses AI to get viewership on YouTube, and he's doing it all AI based. So, for example, he's basically going, AI, tell me the top 10 places to visit in Maryland, create a 2-minute script for me, then goes to an AI video generator and says, generate this video for me, put the images, and make sure it's only 2 minutes long. And so he's doing that for so many different types of topics. And if you think about it, the topics are kind of endless, right? So he continues to get thousands and thousands of views and makes them from YouTube. And eventually, as he gets more subscribers, he's selling ads on his YouTube or putting it on TikTok. But you can do things like, hey, what are the top 10, Mexican places in Maryland? And you can do this now for every state and everything. So it's kind of really interesting to see people use it as a tool in that way, to not even anymore like the way it's shaping business is changing drastically in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have another client that's created a subscription-based platform. This one's crazy to me.
Okay.
Doing over 70K a month in top line revenue on a subscription-based platform where he says, all right, AI, for example, let's take Halloween. He said, give me 30 images or 30 things right now people are searching for when it comes to Halloween images. Cool. Goes to an image generator and says, generate those 30 images for me, and uploads them to his website. And on his website, he has over 16,000 images, all AI generated, and hashtags are created from them, like for them, AI generated. And so basically, you can go to his website, you can search for that picture, and you can use that picture any way you want. He's selling them on Etsy, and it's a $9 a month subscription. He's just crushing it, right? And he's not doing anything. He's just completely using little automations built into, just connecting, and all it does is it's just running on its own. Like he does nothing. The website, it uploads them to the website automatically. It generates the images based on the month, the theme. It's
Mm.
crazy,
Mm.
crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy, and it's getting crazier. And I think it's crazy. It's the craziest that if you don't actually start to understand what's going on. So it's crazy. It's getting crazier, but you're the craziest if you don't try to understand some of this stuff right now,
Yeah,
because it's moving
for
fast.
sure.
I look at this technology like a wave. It is a technological wave, and you can either do what you do, Joe, and surf on it, or do like those who don't do too well and just get wiped out by it. So what are
Yeah,
you doing to help folks not wipe out? You know, because this is a lot. I mean, this is, put it like this. You know,
yeah.
technology is moving at not as faster than light speed right now. It's so difficult for people to understand. And how are you helping people to wrap their minds around it and conceptualize it enough to be able to use it?
For sure. I was gonna say the challenge I find internally for a lot of businesses that are adopting it is, uh, for them it's a probably the change around your labor cost, right? So like I'm working with a lot of these clients trying to adjust their labor because, for example, there's a technology out there called like I think Air.io, and and that's not a plug by any means, but they actually have a AI generated robot who gets on a call and will do your sales calls for you. So my clients are kind of facing this dilemma where the setters or the appointment setters, it can now be done through AI, where like their human based setters were getting like 60% appointment set to book a call, where like now they're facing 95% from the AI generated setters. And it's crazy. So you now have this like, well, I'll let these people go because for me, this cost outweighs that. And we don't really need these people anymore. So the challenge is there's so much out there for them to decide and figure out which ones to pick and which ones are the right one. But they're seeing it reshape their entire business by cutting their expenses down by like a third for some of them, but that dilemma translates, into people losing jobs and having to find new ways to provide value, right? So it's really interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's actually one of my other questions here too. It's basically because a lot of people are afraid of AI, because it is taking jobs, but the thing that people don't look at is that, there's multiple stats, but for every job that's taken, there's technologies creating 2.8, now it's up to 3 point something jobs. That's because there's all these different new ways to make money, right? And new ways to connect. But who the heck would have thought we'd have been getting our groceries from somebody else, like on a regular basis? Some people have not gone to the
Yeah.
grocery store since 2020, right? So there's like so many things, but at the same time, there are people losing opportunity. So I have my own ideology about this. It's real simple. If a robot's doing something that you're doing, it's time for you to upskill, right? That's
Agreed.
why
I totally agree. I mean, the industrial revolution as a whole, I think, is the proof in the pudding of that, right? Like,
go to
now
that.
a tractor can take out, 100 jobs, but those 100 people now, have gotten better at something else. It evolved over time.
That's it. That's it. So do you have these discussions? Do you have these conversations with people who are afraid of AI and look at AI like the Terminator, coming for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's especially in the accounting industry, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think for us as a profession, to give you an example with ChatGPT, when it like kind of first, I think it was ChatGPT 3 before even 4 was even big, maybe even 2 point, was it 2.5 or something? We uploaded a tax return to test it, right? Our own return to see like what kind of thing could it do. And it will actually advise you on how to do the tax return.
Mm.
So there's like talk amongst the accounting community of like, does it eventually eliminate, our profession as a whole? Does it create concern and panic around that? And like, if you're a believer in innovation, then you shouldn't fear it. You should embrace it and figure out ways to stay relevant. And I think that kind of applies as a whole to anything that you do, right? People are always
Mhm.
going to be trying to do something better than you, right? I don't think the
Right.
iPhone ever thought it was going to be the only phone that ever existed and that no one else was going to try to replicate it,
Mm-hmm.
make it better.
Right. Right. Man,
So,
that's big. That's big. So it's we come to a point to where it's like, okay, so you can take action, but the cost of inaction may be worse.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so true. I think people are right now with AI, you either have people that are fully embracing it or completely choosing to ignore, automation and AI. I mean, Zapier is like a prime example of
Mm-hmm.
like how awesome it is to connect, so many different platforms together and functions. It's just like, man, like we were watching, copywriting is a prime example.
Yeah.
Before you were paying someone between 5 $100 a month to $5,000 a month to write copy ads for you and
Right.
define your tone. And now you can be a business owner who literally has everything that's ever been written by you be studied and create the tone by which can write all of your copy going forward. So I
Oh
mean,
man.
and
Listen,
it's on all these platforms, man.
yeah,
ChatGPT, Canva, Grammarly. I mean, you name it.
everywhere
They're
now.
all trying to offer
Everywhere.
the copy guidance.
Yep. I mean, and look, here's a good hack for people who didn't know. So essentially, when I'm writing copy, sometimes I'll say something like, "Okay, write this from the mindset of the great copywriter Dan Kennedy," right? And so it'll literally then write the copy how Dan would write it. Or maybe I want to write it like the Wolf of Wall Street brother, or maybe I want to do a Tony Robbins thing. I forgot the Wolf of Wall Street what his name is, but I have his book. It's pretty nice. I can't remember any of it, the book or his name, but I know the concept. A straight line
Right.
theory. But so you can literally ask ChatGPT to just frame it the way you want it to be framed. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely unbelievable what you can do. But let's talk about some advice, man. What advice would you give to some businesses that are hesitant about adopting some of this automation for their financial practices, and particularly this is a big one.
I think for me, if you're really a true CEO or business trying to constantly optimize, you have to embrace it, right? Like, even if it means hiring someone who might be a specialist, you're going to help make things definitely more efficient, right? I mean, whether it be your copy, whether it be your email responses. I mean, I feel like a lot of that stuff is kind of already in effect and most people are using them. But if you're not, and I say that because I actually do meet a lot of small businesses still uh, outside of the online sector that aren't really embracing those things yet. The online, at least, they're pretty receptive to this stuff. I feel like they're in with the trends. You have the people that follow Gary Vee, that follow Tony Robbins, that are constantly trying to stay on the latest technology. Um, but yeah, you have to, right? Your profits are at sacrifice for that, right? If you're trying to get more pre-tax profit and net revenue to the bottom line and make more money for your business to grow it and use it to test and take risk on other things, I think it's something you have to embrace, and you got to do that.
You got to. And do you have an example of someone that you've seen that have embraced it and have had a financial breakthrough or had a breakthrough based off the embracing of automation or technology?
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, the appointment setting is huge, right? I used to have a client where their entire business was outsourcing to the Philippines or India, is people that could essentially do the appointment setting, right? So they had a low cost average there to be able to hire someone to respond to Facebook messages or whatever to set those appointments. But there are literally AI platforms now that are constantly studying conversation to get the best responses, to get the best outcome on getting someone to set an appointment. And setting the appointment is the difference between getting another lead to close and make more revenue. So it's huge, right? I think that is a prime example. I have one particular client who teaches how to day trade and to make a living out of learning how to day trade. And like I said, that example, I was a real example. He went from like 60% appointment setting to like 90% plus of the people that inquire about his service get on a booked appointment and meet with his closers and find out if they got the juice to close the deal.
Mm. Well, what would you say to business owners that are like, because you said you work with folks that are just getting off the ground too. What's some advice you would give to people who are just new in business or thinking about starting a business? Some things maybe they should be thinking about. Something you might tell your past self as the future self sitting here in the present.
Yeah. The best advice I could give when for a newer business starting out, especially maybe I'm biased here because I'm a VCFO, is plan, and forecast. The amount of times I actually was just on a call with a client who I've been meeting with for 2 years now, and he goes, why do we budget? Why do we forecast? We've been doing this for 2 years using these financials. But you can't, even though you can't predict the future and your success could far exceed what you wrote down on paper, you got to plan, right? You got to figure out how much you need to anticipate spending to grow and sit down, right? Like we know there's those, the business plans that take a long time to fill out. And I'm not saying you have to go do those things, but they exist for a reason because they make you think about what what you're looking at, what you anticipate, what the vision is, understanding your why, which is really huge. Losing sight of your why is going to be a huge challenge in being able to succeed as a business if you don't know what you're doing and why you're doing what you do. But plan, look at your numbers, be comfortable with them, right? They're the difference between succeeding and not, right? A lot of times, true entrepreneurs are about taking extreme risk. And I think that's what kind of separates the average people out there and the entrepreneurial kind of mindset is they're willing to take huge risk and put it all on the line to find out. And I don't think they have to. I think sometimes they don't realize if you just do a little bit of planning, you can do that within a threshold, right? And have success.
If you fail to plan,
Plan to fail.
I mean, that's like everyone knows that, but it's almost like what's common sense is not always common practice.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. What's in the future for Joe Siegel and GreenLight Financial?
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm excited about is I'm talking about helping not only businesses financially, but doing some consulting and helping businesses grow. One of my clients is phenomenal at that stuff. And him and I are talking about, working with companies through kind of some equity deals, similar to what like Hormozy does, Alex Hormozy, if you're familiar, where they come in and they really help you dial things in, bringing in those elements to a business where they don't have anything to lose by joining forces, choosing that like baseline of success, like, hey, you're making 200K a month. Cool. We're only going to help, take money from what we help you make above that average you already have. So I'm excited about that because it means that we're going to really start helping some businesses grow past some of their limitations, right? Whether it be helping them with their marketing, helping them really understand their financials. You know,
Mm,
I meet with clients biweekly, monthly. We review their financials. It is business coaching too. It's not just me sitting down and discussing that stuff, and that's what a good CFO should do. But yeah, this is kind of a different element of being able to maybe go into it more and really, really being a part of the business. So, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, what kind of businesses do you primarily look to work with? Do you have a sweet spot?
Yeah, I would say, the bulk of the people that I work with right now are mostly coaches, course creators. I do work with some agencies, some e-commerce businesses. No SaaS right now. SaaS can scale pretty quickly. I mean, if anybody knows anything about SaaS, you can have a multi-million dollar company, a monthly pretty quickly if you have a good software. But yeah, I don't really have any discrimination on online based businesses. I do have a few brick and mortar that have asked for some help, but I see it as like if your business needs some financial guidance, my specialty is digital nomads. I relate to those people. I feel like I look for those people that are, wanting to travel and have a life and don't see like your job or your business as kind of a crutch for you, right? Or,
Mm,
I want to see you enjoy what you do. And I have so many clients like that. I had one guy who was on YouTube. He was really big. His whole thing was talking about relationships and helping couples get through those relationship challenges and teaching people how to meet other people as well. And when I first met him, he was crushing his financials. To example, he was doing like 300K a month with like a 70% pre-tax profit, which is unheard of. In
okay.
my professional opinion, I have something I use called the prime ratio. I think a 30% pre-tax profit is a very good operating business, right? That's a very good place to be. So he's at 70%. And I meet with
Mm,
him and I say, how do you feel, man? He's like, oh, I'm working all the time. It's crazy, but my margins are great and I'm crushing it. And I have to look at him and I say, you're not really enjoying your money. So we start working. We start slowly breaking down those walls and building a labor budget and actually adding team to
mm,
alleviate some of the things on his life. And a year later, he says to me, I know we're only making 40% pre tax profit, but I got to be honest with you. He's like, Joe, for the first time in my life, I'm actually really, really happy. I have a lot of time in my life. I've been traveling a lot now. I have people I can rely on to run my business. And I feel like now all I do is just make content, which is really cool.
Mm,
And that's the win for me, man. So for
yeah.
me, being able to work with people and find out stuff like that. And that wasn't necessarily my plan at first. I just knew when I looked at his numbers and I saw 70% pre-tax profit, my first brain said, there's money sitting on the table. We
Yeah.
can get you to higher margins because you're not utilizing your cash flow, I think, as best
Mm.
as possible. So let's figure out ways to maybe get that margin down, but get your top line a little higher. So
Margin
that's what
down,
we did.
top higher, stress down as well. How about that, man?
Yeah. It
How
was
about that?
really cool. Honestly, when he said that to me and got real with me, I was like, wow. It was like he almost came to tears on the call. I was like, wow, like this
Yeah, it's a
shit's
big deal.
emotional for some people,
Yeah,
man.
it is. It is, man. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
We got politics, religion, and our money. That stuff is like they're all lined up with importance, man. They're right there. It'll get you crying
Yeah.
quick, man. Joe,
Yeah.
give us your best piece of business advice or your favorite quote that's yours, though.
Oh, that's my quote. Oh man, but I have a quote that is one of my favorite quotes. It's not
Okay,
my quote.
okay, give yours. Fine, it's fine. It's fine. Give
Okay.
your favorite
So
quote.
my all-time life favorite quote, hands down, comes to mind like that. It's the very first one that pops into my brain. Is um, I may move slow, but I never move backwards. It was Abraham Lincoln, and I stand by that. You know, I think that applies to so many things. If it's your business, don't
Wow.
scale too quickly, don't lose control, and don't sacrifice quality for scaling.
Mm,
Stay true to your product, stay true to your why. That's my business advice. Take your
mm.
time. The money will come if the product and the thing is something that others can believe in, if you believe in it as well.
Man, that's a slam dunk. That's a slam dunk. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. That's my guy, man. As a matter of fact, one of his quotes is one of my quotes too. Like, so one of my favorite
Oh,
quotes
nice.
is from him too. And it was like, so yours was, I may move slow, but I never move backward. I never heard that one. That's a really good concept. Hit the other one of Abraham Lincoln was, if it takes me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. I was like, wow, dude, that thing got me like that thing resonated with me so deep. Cause I'm thinking to myself, okay, 6 hours to cut it down, 4 sharpening the axe. So yeah, that's called preparation, baby. Because the sharper the axe, the quicker the tree will fall. You can go out there with a half sharp axe if you want to, then you'll be out there chopping forever.
That's
Yo,
right. Make sure your stuff's ready. That's so true. That's a good one. I like that.
man, Abraham Lincoln's the man today. Joe Siegel, and he's the man next to the man. Joe, what's the best way for folks to get in contact with you or reach out to you and work with you and find out what you're doing?
Yeah, for sure. Go to greenlighttoday.com. Feel free to check us out, shoot us an email, a message on there. There's tons of ways to contact us. Check us out on Facebook. You can personally friend request me, Joe Siegel. We also have GreenLight Financial on Facebook as well. But check us out again, GreenLight Today. Got tons of free content I can send you. Just shoot me a message and we'll help you out.
There you go, folks. That's Joe Siegel. And look, you don't know what you don't know. But
That's true.
if you get around someone who knows more than you know, you might know something. Until next time, everybody.
Sure.
And by the way, before we just jump out real quick, if you have any questions, make sure you drop those in the comments because this is going to continue to go on. What I've noticed is that after this live, Joe, people come over and they watch it because they didn't watch it live and they have questions. So I want to put that out there. Put the questions in the comments and we'll be here.
Yeah, send them away. Let's see what you got. I don't mind sharing any information as long as it's not my client's personal information, but let's chat.
There we go. Till next time.
Automation nation, around the nation. Automation nation, automation nation. Automation nation.